Get into your tornado safe space. We've seen this storm tighten up very quickly over the last 15 minutes and now strong enough where feel confident that it could possibly be coming tornadic. And that's why the warning was issued. This is currently a radar indicated tornado, but again, the circulation has developed very, very quickly. Let's go ahead and show you where that circulation is. Again, coming in now into the southwestern corner of Marion County, southwest of Yellville. So here's Yellville, Western Grove, and you can see that couplet. Now, this is a long way away from our radar site here in Springfield, so we're kind of hitting it higher up in the storm, but that's fairly strong rotation right there. And the way this storm has intensified as fast as it has, again, we're concerned that we are finding this storm now becoming potentially tornadic. Looks like that circulation has crossed the county line now into southwestern Marion County. I'm going to go over to a different map view here so that I can kind of give you some better road data here. That storm, the circulation is located right on top of Pendle. That is on Highway 65. So it looks like this possible tornado is crossing Highway 65 very close to Pendle, Arkansas, southwest of Verona. Areas further northeast that will potentially be in the path of this possible tornado would be Verona as well as Bruno. These are a couple of smaller communities, again, northeast of where the current circulation is. These are communities that are located along Highway 235 and also Highway 125 running west out of the Bruno area. So possible tornado very close to Pendle, Arkansas near Highway 65, and it is tracking very quickly toward the northeast. That forward speed, again, these have been very fast moving tornadoes that we've had this morning and now this afternoon, moving northeast at 50 miles per hour. So again, moving very quickly. It's not going to give you much time to get into your tornado safe space. So please take action now. Possible tornado moving now into southwestern Marion County. Tracking that out, that will bring it, and it's located right about in there, tracking northeast at 50 miles per hour. This is the general path that we're expecting that this possible tornado will take. So some towns that are going to be in the path: Freck at 209, Cowan at 215, Han Valley at 225, and Gassville at 228. This cone that we've drawn on the map for you, these are 10-minute increments of time. So roughly 10 minutes there, pushing it past Pendle, and then another 10 to 20 minutes, and then it looks like it would be in the Gassville area roughly 30 minutes from now. This is, again, just the latest tornado warning that we've covered today. We started the day very early with tornado warned storms coming out of eastern Kansas, impacting areas along I-49. And now, after a lull in the action late this morning, we're now finding tornadoes or possibly tornadic thunderstorms firing up east of Highway 65, approaching the Highway 63 corridor. And you can see how storms now are lined up from Rolla all the way south through Mountain Grove, Ava, Gainesville, and into the Mountain Home area, stretching southwest back toward Fort Smith. This will be a pretty quick hitting event. I think we're looking at a window of about maybe 2 to 3 hours as these storms travel across our eastern counties, pushing across Highway 63, but they are moving into an environment that will be conducive or is conducive for tornadic weather. We saw, again, the lull late this morning. Meanwhile, while that was happening east of Highway 65, we had temperatures going up and humidity levels going up, and that's that fuel for storms, and there's plenty of wind energy out there with this storm system. So with that combination, again, expecting not only the risk of large hail and maybe damaging wind gusts, but also tornadoes. And currently we have, again, a tornado warned storm moving now into southwestern Marion County. That storm located just a little north of St. Joe, or the circulation located a little bit north of St. Joe, also on Highway 65, and tracking in the general direction of Yellville. So if you live in the vicinity of Yellville and points southwest, please take action. Here in the latest scan that I'm looking at on radar, it looks like that circulation continues to tighten up northeast of Pendle. That's maybe a sign that this storm is trying to produce a tornado. In fact, in the latest scan that I'm just looking at here, it is continuing to intensify and tighten up. So please, again, take this seriously. Take cover now. Possible tornado developing with this storm moving into southwestern Marion County. That circulation currently is located between, I would say, Verona and Bruno. in the vicinity of Highway 235 and tracking toward the northeast. So it's still a little ways to the southwest of Yellville, but if you live anywhere between Pendle and Yellville, take action now. Again, a possible tornado developing with this storm, tracking northeast at 50 miles per hour. So a fast-moving storm like we will see, I think, with many of the storms this afternoon. Just getting a new radar scan in, and again, that circulation appears to be east of Everton over southwestern Marion County. Looks to be centered over Bruno, which is located along Highway 235. Kind of zooming in, I want to see if I can get some other street names to pop in, and those have disappeared there briefly as I zoomed in. But it looks like, again, if you live in and around Bruno in southwestern Marion County, the tornado should be in your vicinity right now if it's on the ground. And it will continue to track northeast, roughly in the direction of Ralph and Yellville. So again, if you live Bruno up toward Yellville, Ralph, please take cover now. Possible tornado with this thunderstorm that is tracking northeast at 50 miles per hour.
Jamie, I'm keeping an eye on Texas County, because right
Texas
now
County.
there's only severe thunderstorm warning on that, but it has been producing some large hail. I think about 2-inch size hail, and maybe some hints of rotation there as well. So
Yeah.
that's another area that we have to keep an eye on further up into the north. And really, as these storms move further off into the east, yep, we just got a tornado warning in Texas County that are coming out. As these storms are moving further off into the east, they're getting into an environment that's more...
Matt, I'm gonna stop you for a moment. They're saying that you're having some mic issues, so we'll go ahead as Matt takes care of that. Again, new tornado warning just issued. This is for Texas County into southwestern Dent County. This is a new tornado warned storm. That warning runs, and I'll get that information up. That warning runs through...
Can you guys hear me? Are we good?
All right. Looking at the data right here, that warning runs through for the next 27 minutes. That storm is moving northeast also at 50 miles per hour. So the new warning runs through 2:30 this afternoon. That is for Texas County and southwestern Dent County. This is for a cell very close to Houston. Clearly, if you live in Houston, take shelter now.
This is a beast of a storm, Jamie. I mean, 2-inch size hail is what the National Weather Service are putting out. Then you also throw in the fact that we're starting to see rotation as well. This is a powerful one. We have 2 that we're tracking right now, one in northern Arkansas, second one over into Texas County. I'm trying to keep an eye on another kind of severe thunderstorm that's going into West Plains, and what could be a possibility that we need to continue to monitor as it's getting into a more favorable environment. There's more instability, there's more juice in the atmosphere for these thunderstorms to really continue to grow.
Yeah, that circulation right now, kind of focusing in on that Texas County storm, that circulation appears to be right there, very close to the intersection of Highway 38 and Highway 17, west-northwest of Houston. The circulation looks to be just west of Houston, again, pretty close to the intersection of Highway 38 and Highway 17. Kind of zooming in, ZZ Highway is in the vicinity of where that circulation is showing up on radar right now. Looks like it's just to the southeast of Plum Valley and to the west of Houston. And it too, again, tracking just like the other storm, very quickly off to the northeast at 50 miles per hour. That's what we've seen with the storms today. I mean, just incredible forward motions, maybe not quite as fast as the morning round when we had speeds of 70 to 80 miles per hour, but still 50 mile per hour forward motion does not provide much time to take shelter when that tornado is bearing down. So tracking this out, this is just some just a timeline of when you can expect this storm to be in your area. Bucyrus 207, so a couple of minutes from now. Prescott 217, Joy 234. The circulation looks like it will track just to the northwest of Houston. So if you're watching from around Houston, especially south and southeast of Houston, this particular tornado warned storm should stay just to your north, passing across northern Texas County in the general direction of Licking. Again, right now, that circulation appears to be, I'm hoping I can get an update here on a different radar image. I'm going to go to a different radar view. We've got a lot of different ways that we can look at where these storms are located. And looking, yeah, that circulation certainly is really tightened up there to the west of Houston, very close to Bucyrus. And of course, that is located right there along Highway 17, west of Houston. Appears that is where the tornado is currently located if we have one on the ground. Again, this is radar indicated at this stage. And that possible tornado tracking northeast through Bucyrus right now, and then it should stay north of Houston, but will move in the general direction of the Licking area. I think probably based on how it's tracking, it'll probably stay just south of Licking. It looks like in the next 10 minutes or so, it'll probably cross Highway 63 between Licking and Houston. So 2 tornado warned storms. If you're joining us right now, we've got 2 tornado warned storms. One is in Texas County, impacting areas near and north of Houston. And then we've got another tornado warned storm further south of the state line. This is moving across Marion County, and it's located here just to the southwest of Yellville. So I'm going to go back to a different radar view and see what that looks like. That circulation too has maintained its intensity. It's tightened up and it's maintaining its intensity. Looks like that is positioned just to the southwest of Yellville, and it looks like based on the track that I can see with that particular circulation, I think it's probably going to stay just on the south side of Yellville, but this is going to be a close call, folks. In fact, new scan coming in, that circulation has intensified further, and again, we may be looking at tornado development imminently if it's not already happening. I don't see a debris signature yet on radar, but that circulation has tightened up further in the last scan. And right now, we'll call it a possible tornado, is located just to the southwest of Yellville. It looks like, again, it is located, hopefully that's not updating the way I would like. It looks like it is located, and we'll put the scope on this, just southwest of Yellville right there. And of course, when I scope that out, I mean, you can clearly see what we're talking about. This feature right in here. Well, it's not moving forward, but you can see southwest of Yellville, this is the circulation. And it's tracking roughly like this. So here's Yellville. I think if there's a tornado developing right now, I think it's probably going to track just to the south or across the south side of Yellville, crossing through areas like Highway 14 here over the next, I would say, 5 minutes or so. Just getting an update here on a different radar view. That circulation, again, located very close to Ralph here along Highway 14. Looks like it'll be moving through the Highway 14 corridor over the next few minutes. And then from there, it looks like it could impact communities like Cowan, located just to the east of Ralph. So again, folks, we have 2 tornado warned storms, one in southern Marion County, another one in Texas County, and this is probably the first of quite a few tornado warned storms that we'll see the remainder of this afternoon. Matt, are we seeing any information coming in terms of verification on either one of these storms?
Verification from the hail. I don't think we have any verification that we have a tornado on the ground at this moment. I am keeping an eye right along the state line, closer to Bull Shoals. I think that's another area where we're trying to see some rotation wrap around. That's not tornado warned at this time, but that is it's really starting that intensifying process. That's further up into the north. So that's the area I'm trying to keep an eye on at this moment. Got an update from Little Rock. They're saying rotation strong south of Yellville. Radar does not indicate that a tornado is active just yet, but they said it's going to be very close to the city. So I think they're seeing the same thing that we're seeing at this moment. We don't see that debris ball. We don't see anything that we can say that is absolutely a tornado on the ground right now in Yellville, but I mean, that potential is absolutely there.
Yeah, so what happens is we'll start seeing that circulation. We'll see it initially, and then we'll see it tighten up. And as it tightens up, it's possible when that's happening that it's trying to tighten up and then develop down toward the surface. And because the storm in Marion County is so far away from our radar site here in Springfield, we're not hitting it close to the ground. In fact, we're hitting it at about 4,600 feet off the surface. But because that circulation is tightening up there in the mid-levels of the storm, the possibility is there that it's trying to extend down to the surface. And again, some of the different parameters that we look at indicate that it may be trying to produce a tornado at this stage. It does look like that it is, again, crossing Highway 14 right now. The last scan I got looks like it is crossing across Highway 14 just south of the Yellville area. And I'll go ahead and box that in so you can see what I'm talking about. There is our storm. Scoping that out. Circulation, this scan looks a little bit old, but that circulation now appears to be located right about in here on Highway 14. So it's crossing Highway 14 just south of Yellville, and will continue to track roughly in this fashion toward the northeast at about 50 miles per hour. So if you're watching from communities like Flippin or Gassville, at this point, I think you may be on the northern edge of the possible path of this tornado. Looks like that tornado or potential tornado will track, I think, just south of places like Flippin and Gassville. But if you live south of those communities, if you live south of, I guess that's Highway 62 running west-east through that area, if you live near or south of Highway 62, again, you're under the gun. Possible tornado tracking through your area over the next 15 to 20 minutes. Again, this is a fast-moving storm, moving northeast at 50 miles per hour, and it doesn't give you a lot of time to get prepared, to get into your tornado safe space as this storm moves to the area. Now, in addition to the tornado risk, we've also got to be concerned about hail. I mean, a lot of these storms are now beginning to produce not only large, but maybe very large hail. So this is going to be an active afternoon, very similar to this past Sunday, except the tornado potential looks greater this afternoon versus what we found back on Sunday of this past weekend. If you're joining us at this moment, again, 2 tornado-warned storms, one south of Yellville in Marion County, the other north of Houston and Texas County. So let's investigate that one. That storm 2, again, tracking northeast at 50 miles per hour. You can see the hook. I mean, here's Licking. This is likely very heavy rainfall and hail right here. And then here's our hook. This is likely where the rotation is located, just to the northeast of Houston. Again, I think that tornado threat with that storm has now passed the Houston area. It slid by just to the north. We'll go ahead and scope that out.
And that hook is something that's really been developing the last 5-10 minutes, where kind of that rear flank has been causing it to wrap back around. It's a sign that this is strengthening, not weakening. And this is continuing to produce large hail in that area, continue to produce that tornado threat that we are concerned about at this moment.
And just like we see with the Marion County tornado-warned storm, this storm it's not close to our radar site here in Springfield. So we're hitting that storm in Texas County, also quite a ways off the surface. We're hitting it at about 5,000 feet. So at that level, what we see is what I see right now is relatively broad rotation. But it's been cycling a bit. We've seen some fluctuations in the intensity of that circulation, and the tornado warning does remain in effect. It looks like, again, the tornado risk has ended for areas west and southwest of Houston, and the Weather Service has trimmed up the polygon because of that. But the tornado threat does continue downstream away from Houston off to the northeast. It looks like the circulation is moving very close to Highway 63, should cross Highway 63 over the next few minutes, and then it will track south of Licking and in the general direction of southwestern Dent County. I'm going to go to a different radar view and see if I can get some street names to pop up for me. It looks like that circulation is now located just to the northeast of Prescott. This is just southwest of Licking, so looks like we've got, again, a potential tornado nearing the Licking area. Looks like it's going to be a close call. Right now, I would guess that circulation is going to track across the south side of Licking. It's currently located very close to BB Highway. I'm trying to get another name to pop in for me. Okay, got that to come in. Hartville Road. Hartville Road is very close to where that circulation is. So BB Highway and Hartville Road is where it looks like the possible tornado is located. And then it looks like it's probably going to come across Highway 63 within the next 5 minutes. And it could impact areas south of Licking along Main Street, which turns into Highway 137 running south away from Licking. So currently, again, tornado-warned storm moving through the Licking area. Looks like the circulation or the possible tornado is currently located just to the south-southwest of Licking. And I can go ahead and see how far. It looks like it's about 3.5 miles to the southwest of Licking. And again, with its moving 50 miles per hour off to the northeast, I mean, that's not a lot of time. It's going to be right on you here momentarily. Looks like that circulation will probably cross very close to the south end of Licking, moving across Highway 63 over the next few minutes, and then just beyond that, across Highway 137. After that, it looks like it will move into southwestern Dent County. So we'll track this out one more time. And this is the rough path that circulation is going to take. It looks like it'll be near Coldstone at 225, Jack at 235, and then Salem, if the storm holds together, and I think this is an environment where it probably will. Salem, you're not under a tornado warning, but I would watch for that warning to get extended across your area. And it looks like that possible tornado, certainly that severe thunderstorm, will be into your area. It looks like we just got a new warning. Will be into your area at 2:43 this afternoon. So new tornado warning coming in. That is for Dent County. That does include the Salem area. Again, it looks like that tornado, possible tornado at this stage. Again, it's radar indicated, located near Licking, traveling northeast at 50 miles per hour. And that's going to put it in the Salem area in about 25 minutes. So I would say 20 to 25 minutes from now, you're going to have a possible tornado in your area. So if you live in and around Salem, please take shelter. Areas further southwest, Jack, Joy, these are communities. If you live in and around near these communities or areas in between, please take shelter with a possibly developing tornado with this thunderstorm moving across northern Texas County at this moment. And again, that hook is really, just kind of looking at the latest scans here, that hook has continued to wrap up. So that circulation, I'm hoping that we'll get an update. That circulation right now, again, located very close to Highway 63. Going to a different radar view, I do have a more updated. It looks like it is indeed located right on top of Highway 63. And I'll zoom in and kind of highlight that. It looks like, again, just to the south of Licking is where that circulation is. Getting a new radar view in, and let's go ahead and kind of zoom in on where I think, because here's the thing, folks. What I'm showing you on air, this data is somewhat old. You have to wait for these scans to come in. And I have other sources that are showing me where roughly these circulations are versus what I'm able to show you on radar. But it looks like that circulation is located right about in here. So very close to Licking on the south and southeast side of town. It looks like it's moving across Highway 137. It has crossed Highway 63 already. The circulation still very apparent, and looks like it will travel, should be making its way up toward Highway 32. Running east out of Licking, and it should be doing that over the next 5 to 10 minutes. But again, right now, it looks like we have a possible tornado on the southeast side of Licking. Looks like it may be just on the outskirts of Licking, south of downtown Licking, traveling northeast at 50 miles per hour. Now, Matt, while I'm talking about this storm, that storm down in Marion County, any updates there?
There is a emergency manager that saw that kind of storm south of Yellville. They saw the rotating mesocyclone. They did not see a funnel with that. Something that we need to keep an eye out on, Jamie, is we now have a severe thunderstorm warning with a tornado possible tag that just crossed the state line, really to the west of Bakersville, to the east of Gainesville, closer to Tecumseh. That's the new area that we're seeing kind of the next rotation that's getting tighter and tighter. This is what we're tracking over in Bull Shoals. We said, hey, watch this one. It's getting a little bit closer. The National Weather Service starting to agree with us where they're starting to see that potential. They issued that tornado possible tag on that. So that's the kind of third area that we have to watch. We have the tornado warning that just went past Houston. We got the tornado warning south of Yellville. And we got to keep an eye on that third one that's going to move closer into Howell County and probably, I'd say, about 10 minutes from now.
Yeah, and I just popped up, so this is velocity data. So we're looking at the winds within the atmosphere in reference to these storms. And on that image, what I'm able to show you is what Matt's talking about. You have the circulation that's now located east of Yellville, and we now have a circulation located right on the state line to the southeast of Gainesville. Both of these are traveling northeast. Now, the one that's located southeast of Gainesville, west of Bakersfield, it's not currently tornado warned, but it may be heading in that direction. It's that circulation right here. So here's Gainesville, Bakersfield located roughly there. This is the circulation that we're watching right now, and it is traveling northeast, probably 50 miles per hour, because all the storms seem to be moving at about 50 to 60 miles per hour in that area. This is the circulation that is located east of Yellville. It too is tracking northeast. It looks like it's maintaining itself, and it looks to be tracking in the general direction of Mountain Home. So folks in Baxter County, around the Mountain Home area, watch for the possibility of going under a tornado warning here soon as that possibly tornadic thunderstorm heads in your direction. Again, it's a fast mover too, moving at 50 miles per hour, and that's going to put it in line to get it into the Mountain Home area shortly. Looking further north,
Jamie, yeah, let's go back up north because I'm hearing reports of a funnel cloud. Apparently, there's a video. One of our weather watchers, Patty, got. So I'm trying to get a hold of that video, but she's
out of the Licking area.
Out of the Licking area, yes, she's reporting a funnel cloud with that.
Okay, so and that circulation appears to be now to the east of Licking. You can see it roughly right in here. So here's Licking, Highway 63. That is what we're tracking right now with that thunderstorm. And let's see if I can zoom in a little bit tighter. Sometimes it doesn't want to give me the road data that I want it to, but you can see Highway 32. It looks like it's located just north of Highway 32 to the west-northwest of Coalstone. It is tracking northeast, so if you're watching from around the Licking area, the tornado risk with this storm it's ended. It's now east of your area, tracking toward the northeast, and it is moving in the general direction of Salem. Now, Salem, earlier we were talking about your area. You're now under a tornado warning. And that storm is tracking, it looks to be roughly in your direction. So I would absolutely take this seriously. Be prepared for the possibility of a tornado moving through your community.
Jamie, let me add some clarification. The video of the funnel was taken when this kind of tornado warned storm was to the west of Houston. So this is probably about 10-15 minutes ago when that video was taken. I can't confirm that it's producing a funnel cloud right now, but there is law enforcement in kind of Texas County Dent line, and they're seeing a wall cloud forming, lots of lightning. So that is kind of what State Highway Patrol is reporting in that area.
Yeah, and the circulation is still there, man. I mean, you can see it there to the northeast of Licking, right there along Highway 32, if we could switch back over to Max 1, right there on top of Highway 32. So here's Highway 32, runs northeast out of Licking towards Salem. And it looks like this circulation, and we may have a developing tornado here, that circulation is going to track roughly right up Highway 32. That's dangerous.
And Jamie, we did get another tornado warning about the area that we're watching near Bakersville going into Howell County. That has been tornado warned further down into the south. The circulation that was over in Yellville, that polygon got extended to now include Mountain Home and parts of Baxter County. So 2 new tornado warnings at this minute.
Yeah, so it looks like we've got, at this stage, we've got 3 tornado warned storms. One is moving toward the Mountain Home area. We've got, and Mountain Home, by the way, new tornado warning has been issued for the Mountain Home area. That includes northern Baxter County into western Fulton County. So we were tracking 3 tornado warned storms. And I know this view, it looks a little messy, but I'll point out what I'm looking at here. We've got a circulation right here, east of Yellville, approaching Mountain Home. We've got a new circulation that is now tornado warned. This is between Gainesville and Bakersfield, and up to the northeast, moving into southwestern Dent County towards Salem. That too is a circulation located very close to Highway 32. So this is turning very quickly into a busy afternoon. So far, outside of reports of a funnel cloud with the northernmost storm, the one that has been moving across Texas County, we haven't gotten any reports of damage. I've not seen, and I'll be honest, I've not looked very closely at this. I've not looked to see if there's been any debris signatures showing up on radar, but certainly these circulations have looked relatively intense, and I'm trying to...
I've seen a couple pictures of tree damage in Houston. That's all I've seen, and hopefully that's all it was just tree damage. I haven't seen anything beyond that. That doesn't mean that more damage hasn't occurred, but right now that's all that I've seen reported in.
Yeah, and just doing a quick, as Matt was talking, I was kind of looking through to see if I see any evidence of a debris signature. So far, not. Now, that doesn't mean that a tornado couldn't be touching down. It's just that we're not seeing evidence through radar that there's being debris flung up into the air in the vicinity of these circulations. So at this stage of the game, the tornado warnings that we have on the map, they're all radar indicated. But that potential is there. I mean, we've already had storms today produce tornadoes. So given the environment that these storms are moving into, I mean, it's very likely we're going to see at least a few of these storms produce tornadoes as they track east across the eastern Ozarks. So let's go back. We're going to go kind of top to bottom. We'll start with the Dent County storm. Up in Dent County, this is the tornado warned storm. That's the circulation still located north of Highway 32 northeast of Licking. It is tracking to the northeast at 50 miles per hour. That circulation, looking at a different scan here, and I think we're going to see this when I get an update on television, but it looks like that scan, with that scan, it looks like that circulation may be right about in here. Looks like it may be right about in here, very close to Highway 32. So it looks like this possible tornado is tracking right along Highway 32 in the general direction of Salem. So again, we're gonna try to go through these 3 different tornadic thunderstorms and highlight where they are and where they're going. So that circulation located right about there, moving northeast at 50 miles per hour. That's gonna be the ground, the real estate that we see this thing cover over the next 30 minutes. I mean, that's 30 minutes because it's moving 50 miles per hour. So should be in Jack in roughly 10 minutes. After that, it looks like it will track up towards Salem, should be in the vicinity of Salem, may stay just south of Salem. That would be in the next 15 to 20 minutes. And then from there, it would be maybe near or to the south side of Dent Ford in roughly 25 minutes from now. So that's the northernmost tornadic thunderstorm, or possibly tornadic thunderstorm, that we're watching. Let's go down to the next one down, and that is in the southeast of Gainesville. This is an area that was hard hit back on March the 14th. This is, again, a tornado-warned storm very close to Tecumseh. That circulation looks like it will stay northwest of Bakersfield. So if you're watching from the Bakersfield area, I think that this possible tornado will stay to your northwest and north. It looks like it will travel roughly along Highway 160 for at least the next 5-10 minutes. You can see the highway right here. This is the circulation located near Tecumseh, and it's moving roughly in this fashion. So it could get pretty close to Caulfield. Let's go ahead and track that out. And that is going to be, at this stage, we just got a new scan there, getting closer to Caulfield. Again, moving northeast at, I think, 50 miles per hour. So this is roughly the track that it's going to be taking. And it looks like it would be near Curiel at 237. If you're watching from West Plains, this storm will be in your area in about 20 to 25 minutes. You're not under a tornado warning right now, but it looks like that this severe thunderstorm with a possible tornado will track into the West Plains area in roughly 20 to 25 minutes from now. So we're going to be looking to see if you go under a tornado warning here shortly. That path also will bring it very close to Caulfield in about the next 5 minutes or so. It looks like it will track, again, this is where the circulation is. It's tracking roughly in this fashion, and it looks like it's going to track very close to Caulfield, maybe just northwest and west of Caulfield. But if you're watching from around Caulfield, please get into your tornado safe space. This possible tornado will be moving through your area over the next 5 minutes. So that is tornado warned storm number 2. And then as we drop a bit further south, this is the other tornado warned storm that we're watching right now. This is approaching the Gassville area. It looks like, I'm going to guess that it's probably now, yes, just looking at a different scan here, it's now located northeast of Gassville, and it is approaching Mountain Home from the southwest. So it looks like this circulation also could be hitting a community. It looks like it's already moved through Gassville, and it will be moving through Mountain Home. This storm, too, is moving northeast at 50 miles per hour. So tracking that out, I just want to make sure we're looking at the right spot. It looks like it is located right about in here and moving northeast at 50. This is the ground that it's going to cover. It should be in the Mountain Home area in about 5 minutes. Roughly 5 minutes from now, or about 2:35. Henderson in about 15 minutes, and up toward Vidette. That's getting into western Fulton County, 2:54 this afternoon, or roughly 25 minutes from now. So again, 3 tornado warned storms will swap back out for our radar view, and it's kind of messy looking. I mean, this just kind of looking at radar right there, you can clearly see the thunderstorm, maybe a little messier as it kind of interacts with storms around it. There's the storm over eastern Ozark County, tracking into southwestern Howell County. And then this is the tornado-warned storm now moving into western Dent County. It looks like it's in line to move right up Highway 32 into the Salem area. In addition to the risk of tornadoes, there's going to be a risk of large hail. We've certainly seen, at least that possibility of hail sizes. I'm going to go ahead and swap that out for a different view. Looks like north of West Plains, a hail core north of Bakersfield, west of Mount Home, hail core. And we're probably getting hail of maybe quarter to golf ball size hail in those cores that I'm referring to. One of the bigger hail cores is southwest of Salem. With that tornado-warned storm, looks like there could be hail maybe up to a golf ball size with that. And just getting a new scan on that one, it looks like the circulation is south of Highway 32 in Dent County. So I'm going to zoom back into that area and we'll take a look. Again, just getting a new scan in. I'm a little concerned about what I see there because it looks like it's tightened up. Looking at it, it looks like it's roughly right about in there. That is, boy, that's a messy view right there. Let me see if I can take that off. And we'll go to our just single site velocity data. All right, that's still also, again, a messy view. I really want to highlight where that circulation is, and it seems like every which way I go, it's kind of messy there. But that circulation looks very close to Highway 32 on the south side of Highway 32, moving towards Salem right now. It too is moving northeast at 50 miles per hour. The tornado threat has ended in the Licking area, but continues across southwestern Dent County, and it looks like, again, that storm will track roughly through Salem and point south of Salem across Highway 19, maybe within the next 5 or 10 minutes. Going back to I want to go back to a different radar view. Hopefully this will come on. And yeah, there you go. We'll just kind of run off of this. You can see that sort of kidney bean shape right here. This is the hook, and it appears that that circulation is located roughly in here and tracking toward the northeast. So again, this is going to be a close call for folks near and south of Salem. It looks like that is roughly where that circulation is going to track through over the next 5 or 10 minutes. That is the northern storm, and let's see if I can go ahead and I'll try to highlight some roads in the vicinity of that circulation. Looks like it's very close to Jack near F Highway, running south away from the Salem area. And again, tracking northeast, it looks like it will move across Highway 19, maybe south of Salem, over the next 5 to 10 minutes. Salem, I'd watch for heavy rain and lightning and hail. You could have hail maybe up to quarter size out of that storm. Also, we've got, again, this is a scenario where if you're just joining us right now, multiple tornado-warned storms. This is in Dent County. We've got another storm that is tornado-warned to the south, and that is located in now southwestern Howell County. West Plains, you're not under a tornado warning yet, but again, this storm is moving roughly in your direction. So I'd watch for a quick upgrade to a warning if this storm continues to hold its act together. And it looks like it is. That circulation is now crossing out of Ozark County. Looks to be very close to Highway 160. That appears to be roughly where that circulation is, just to the north of Caulfield. Kind of highlighting that. Here's Caulfield. This is the hook right here. So this is roughly, if there's a tornado, this is roughly where it's going to be, just to the north of Caulfield, tracking northeast at 50 miles per hour. And then further south.
I believe we have 2 crews right now that are tracking this. We have one that's approaching West Plains, and we have the second one, Parker Pageant's over in Houston right now. If we could pull up the, kind of have a box and box where we have Jamie pulled up, and then also we have the shot in West Plains, where we can kind of see what's going on in that area. That would be awesome, as I kind of talk to my producers right now. But yeah, 3 tornado warnings that we're watching out for. Jamie, the National Weather Service, they are agreeing with you. Okay.
So it sounds like we lost the shot.
We lost the shot.
We can get back to that. Just trying to, let's see, we'll go to this view right here. So as Matt said, I mean, we've got 3 tornado-warned storms, one in Dent County, one moving into southwestern Howell County, and another one moving across northern Baxter County. getting into that, it looks like that possible tornado with that southernmost storm is right on top of Mountain Home. Looks like it's on the north side of Mountain Home. That circulation appears to be located kind of zooming in very close to Highway 201. Let's see if I can get another, some more streets to pop in. County Road 28, northeast of Mountain Home is roughly in the vicinity of where that possible tornado is. So I'll go ahead and box that back in. This is what we're looking at, folks. Again, a tornado warned storm moving through Mountain Home right now, and it appears that that circulation is on the north side of Mountain Home. I'll scope that out, so hopefully, yeah, you can see the circulation right there. So here's Mountain Home. This is the circulation on the north side of Mountain Home moving northeast. So we should see the tornado risk diminishing in the Mountain Home area. But it will extend northeast across northeastern Baxter County.
Can we pull up the, I believe we have tower cams in that area. Can we pull up the Club Boulevard shot in Mountain Home? That's the one on the northern side of the town. Just kind of get a peek of what's going on into that area. You can see the dark skies. You could also see, it's kind of hard to see with the blurriness of the camera. Yeah, we do have that pulled up there. Can we switch to a different camera? This is, I believe this, can we go to the one further off and to the right, the east part of town? Okay, so this is at Highway 5, Jamie, right here in Mountain Home. You can see the rain's coming down pretty hard. Not seeing hail into this camera, but I mean, it is just coming down consistently.
Yeah, and yeah, very heavy rainfall in the Mountain Home area. It looks like the tornado risk has passed Mountain Home, but it is headed up toward places like Kingswood Estates, Dogwood Park. That's roughly in the path of this circulation, and it looks like that circulation will be moving through those areas over the next 5 minutes. The circulation right now appears to be centered pretty close to, trying to get some different street names in, Lake Oak Drive, County Road 30. See if I can get another street name to pop in for me. County Road 30. Again, those are just a few areas, few streets in the vicinity of where that circulation is, and those streets are located to the southwest of Kingswood Estates and also to the west of Dogwood Park. Looks like that circulation is located just north of Highway 62, now moving northeast away from Mountain Home. So that is the southernmost storm. We've got, again, several different tornado warned storms. Dent County, Howell County, new tornado warning just got issued, that for the West Plains area. So let's take a look. This is the storm. Again, a new warning just issued for West Plains. That warning, it runs for the next 21 minutes, and they've got the forward movement on that storm at 55 miles per hour, so a very fast-moving thunderstorm. Again, the circulation with that is located now to the southwest of West Plains. So hopefully when I scope this out, we'll be able to see that. That is just northwest of South Fork. So this image that I'm showing you right here, this looks maybe one scan old. So here's South Fork, Caulfield. Looks like that circulation is located right about in here, and it is tracking northeast roughly in the direction of West Plains. So if you live in and around West Plains, north of South Fork, again, get into your tornado safe space. Looks like you're going to have a possible tornado. This is radar indicated, moving through momentarily. Tracking that out, this is, again, the path that it's taking. Looks like 55 miles per hour. That's going to put it in the vicinity of West Plains in about 10 minutes. So if you live in and around West Plains, you only have about 5 to 10 minutes to prepare for a possible tornado. From there, it looks like it would be up near White Church in about probably under 20 minutes, and then up near Chapel in under 30 minutes. Again, a new tornado warning just issued for the West Plains area, north up towards Pomona, northeast into the Mountain View area. That runs for the next 20 minutes at least. Looks like that circulation with that thunderstorm is now located roughly northwest of South Fork. So let's take this. We'll go ahead and scope that out. Maybe we got a new scan in. You can see what we're talking about. This is the circulation right here, and it looks like it looks like it's moved a little bit further downstream. Roughly right in here is where that circulation is. Let's see if we can get any county roads to pop up. Should be very close to K Highway, maybe north of K Highway, northeast of Pottersville. That's roughly where this circulation is right now. Northeast of Pottersville, north of K Highway, in the vicinity of CC Highway. So CC Highway runs west-east on the north side of Pottersville. K Highway runs out of Pottersville off to the east-northeast, and that circulation appears to be roughly between CC Highway and K Highway. And I think, based on where the circulation is, it's going to be a close call, but it looks like that circulation may move just north of West Plains based on its current trajectory. So I'm going to be watching for that to track roughly in this fashion. It looks like that circulation is going to be tracking roughly in this fashion across, actually probably a little bit more north than that, across north of the West Plains area. And it should be doing that in under 10 minutes from now. I just got a new scan in right there. And you can see, as I take that back off, you can see this is roughly right here, south of Siloam Springs, west of West Plains. This is the circulation that we're watching right in here. And that's tracking roughly like this. So it looks like it may stay just north of West Plains and south of Pomona. But if you live between Pomona and West Plains along Highway 63, again, look for a possible tornado to move through your area in the next 5 to 10 minutes. Matt, any other news coming in over there?
National Weather Service really focused on Howell County right now. That's the one that they're dialing in. I believe they're going to try to clean up these polygons a little bit more, even issue a new tornado warning. We're starting to see that rotation really form. Thankfully, I am hearing from West Plains School District, and they're saying, hey, we have the kids in West Plains, they're taking shelter. The kids in South Fork, they're taking shelter with this. So they're taking this seriously. If you're in Howell County, you need to be getting into your safe place. Try to put as many walls between you and this possible tornado that you can. A lot of time those walls act like layers of armor. So if you get into your basement, great. If you can't, try to get into a closet, try to get into a bathroom, get away from windows if possible.
And we're still, Matt, we're still looking at 3 different storms. So I'm going to go back to the Mountain Home storm because that storm, the circulation with that one looks most intense out of the 3. That circulation is located now to the southwest of Gamaliel, north of Dogwood Park. Looks like it's approaching Highway 101, which runs roughly northeast to southwest through Gamaliel. It looks like it's approaching Highway 101 and should be there within the next few minutes. So we will zoom in on that spot and let's see here, just kind of really kind of honing in on where that is located. This is the circulation. So there's the storm. You can see that hook southwest of Gamaliel. That's the circulation that we're looking at right there. You can see this is again inbound. This is outbound motion. And it's that area where they come together right there. That's where we're seeing the tightest circulation with that thunderstorm and where we think there could be a possible tornado or one trying to develop. And that is southwest of Gamaliel, moving generally in the direction of Gamaliel. And of course, Gamaliel was hit just a few weeks ago on the evening of the 14th. I believe that tornado that hit Bakersfield actually started up just to the southwest of Gamaliel and hit Gamaliel as well. So that's an area that is probably very weather weary, and it looks like we've got another tornado warned storm moving in the direction of your community right now. So you don't need me to tell you what to do. You know what to do. You got to get into your tornado safe space with a possible tornado moving through over the next, I would say, probably 5 minutes or so. This storm moving northeast at 50, I believe. We haven't tracked it out in a little while, so let's do that. Again, that circulation located southwest of Gamaliel, and it is moving northeast at 50. That'll put it roughly, it's moving roughly in this fashion. And I think based on that, we're going to get that thing into Gamaliel. It's probably going to be there within the next 5 minutes. Looks like that circulation may move up near the Bakersfield area. Again, another weather-weary community after tornadoes from a couple of weeks ago. This circulation, this possible tornado, will likely be up near Bakersfield in roughly 10 minutes. So we're going to be looking for that circulation to cross out of Baxter County and into southeastern Ozark County in the next 10 minutes. And then from there, it will probably move into southwestern Howell County. I think this thing's going to probably hold together here in the last few scans. It looks like it's the only thing that it's done is gotten stronger. The circulation, again, located west of Highway 101 to the southwest of Gamelia. And I could put it, looks like it's southwest of Gamelia by about 2.5 miles. And tracking northeast at about 50 miles per hour. So it's going to cover that ground pretty quick and should be in Gamelia over the next few minutes. And then in the Bakersfield area in probably the next 10 minutes. So go ahead, Matt.
I mean, this is a powerful thunderstorm that's moving into Howell County. We have a crew in this area. If we could go to them at some time, whether if that's showing off their shot of what they currently see or if we can talk to them out in the field, I'd love to do that sometime soon. I mean, the tornado warnings are just blanketing. There's so many throughout Howell County. This is the really area, the primary area that we have concern is we're starting to see that rotation forming, and it's moving into a more favorable environment. The Little Rock office is mentioning they're going to put out a particular dangerous situation for tornado watch that's going to come out shortly. There's the shot right there, Jamie, in Howell County. If we can get a little bit more information from our producers on where exactly they are, really appreciate that. But I do know they're headed towards the West Plains area. They're looking for damages. They're on this storm that we're seeing right now.
Yeah, and that's just one of several. I mean, we'll go back up to the Dent County storm. That circulation, it's weakened some, but it's still there, and it's moving through Salem right now. Looks like it is now moving northeast of Salem, tracking away from the Salem area, so we should see the risk of a tornado in Salem diminishing, but it is now tracking into northeastern Dent County, and still see a circulation there. So we're still tracking a tornado-warned storm now into northeastern Dent County. Further south, we've got now just sort of a messy looking line with embedded supercell thunderstorms. And I'm going to go back over to, hopefully this will allow me to show this, not be too messy. There we go. We've got, it looks like we may be looking at 4 different circulations across the area. We've got the Salem circulation, which is located right there to the northeast of Salem, a little messy. I'll just go ahead and move down. But in Howell County, I think there are 2 circulations. Now there's the main one to the west-northwest of West Plains. So here's West Plains, here's Siloam Springs. That's the main circulation that we've been tracking, but it looks like, and I haven't gotten to look at the warning data very closely because they've been coming in hot and heavy, been trying to go back and forth between storms, but it looks like we've got a circulation also to the northeast, very close to Highway 17, to the southwest of Mountain View. So there may be, in fact, 2 different circulations that we're watching, tracking northeast at about 55 miles per hour. This is the most important one of the 2 to the west-northwest of West Plains, and that one should split Siloam Springs and West Plains, and then from there it looks like it will split Pomona and West Plains to the south. So I think it's roughly going to track through this area right in here. It's, again, moving northeast at about 55 miles per hour. So I think that circulation is going to stay between Pomona and West Plains. And then further south, we're still watching this. That's a fairly strong circulation to the southwest of Gamelia. And that data right there looks a little bit old to me, so I'm going to go to a different view and see what it looks like right now. It looks like the circulation with that particular thunderstorm, based on what I'm seeing on a different radar view, this is what we're looking at. We're looking at a little bit back in time. That circulation is now located right on top of Gamelia, and it is tracking northeast, and will be moving toward the Bakersfield area. Should get there probably in about the next 5 to 10 minutes. Again, right now, and it looks like that circulation may be tightening up a little bit. Of course, we just got a scan in right there. This is the circulation. You can see Gamelia to the southwest. Here's Highway 101. And then that takes you into the Bakersfield area. And that circulation is located right there. It's now northeast of Gamelia. Looks like it's on the south side of 101 and paralleling Highway 101, moving roughly in the direction of Bakersfield. Again, that circulation we'll continue to watch. I've not seen at this stage evidence, and I'm going to go to a different view just to be sure.
Take a peek at the CC because I want another scan to kind of confirm that. I mean,
I see what you're saying.
I like another scan to really confirm that.
Yeah.
But that
Matt,
may be early signs of debris.
Yeah. So what Matt is looking at is this, and I think that's a relatively current view. But what he's seeing, this is what we look for is a CC drop, a debris signature, and it looks like there may be one showing up on radar very close to Highway 101, northeast of Gamelia. So that may be the first signs that there is, instead of just a radar indicated tornado, we may have a tornado that has touched down in the vicinity of Gamelia. We'll wait for confirmation from the Weather Service office, but it does look like there may have been a CC drop. I'm going to take this back. I'm looking at a different view.
This is not far from Bakersfield, the same area that was just hit with what, an EF3, EF4 tornado 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, and it's hard to tell, Matt, and I'll say this, it's hard to tell because that CC drop that we're seeing, it's in the vicinity of the updraft as well. So we may also be looking, instead of debris, we may be looking at hailstones. So we may be looking at a mixture of hail and rain, and then the radar is sensing that difference in sizes, and you're getting that CC drop as a result. That's a possibility, but again, it does correlate pretty closely to also where we have the strong circulation that has, again, now passed through Gamelia and is headed up toward the state line. It's not quite to the state line just yet, but it looks like it will be crossing the state line very, very soon from now.
Let's try to give some all clears for people that we think are safe for the night. We've been talking so much about where we think the threat is, Let's tell people where they are going to be safe, Jamie. So let's kind of turn a different page here, and absolutely everyone along I-44, north of I-44, you're safe for tonight. Your opportunity to see anything severe, that has really passed. I think it's areas that are really east of Highway 63 that we're focused in right now, where we can still have that potential. And I am worried about Howell County, where we can almost see kind of a training of thunderstorms. We're seeing that right now, where they experienced one that went through. We're getting another one that's coming through in Bakersville, the one in Mountain Home, heading off to the northeast as well. So very active in Howell County. That's an area that we need to continue to be concerned about. But I think the majority of people in our viewing area are going to be safe for tonight. It's just really our easternmost counties, and it's the same people that were hit with large hail on Sunday. It's the same people that were hit with the tornadoes 2 weeks ago on the 14th. It's the same area we're concerned about now, is where it's that most instability, where the atmosphere is the most active and capable of producing these tornadoes.
And Matt, to your point, yeah, it's areas now really along and east of Highway 63. That's the area for the next few hours until these storms can clear out of our area. I do kind of want to stay focused in on this storm here moving now toward Bakersfield, especially with the history there of the last couple of weeks after the devastating tornado that hit that community. It looks like, and you can see on radar, this one out of most of the storms that we've got on radar right now, this one probably has the most clear supercell look. This is your hook. This is where the circulation is located, right about in there, and it is tracking toward Bakersfield from the southwest. It looks like that circulation right now is located very close to the state line. In fact, trying to get some roads to pop in for me. County Road 43 running north out of Baxter County into southeastern Ozark County. Turns into County Road 585 there. But that's roughly where that circulation is centered right now. New scan coming in. Looks like it's now north of the state line in the latest scan. It looks like it's still west of AR Highway running south out of Bakersfield and south of Highway 101, which runs from west to east into the Bakersfield area. But that circulation is getting closer and closer to Bakersfield. At this stage of the game, it looks like it may move right over Bakersfield. So again, it looks like we may have a possible tornado trying to develop, and it looks like it will track right across the Bakersfield area.
Jamie, I got two updates. I think both of them are fairly good news. With the kind of leading tornado warning that's in Howell County, once this spills into Shannon County and Oregon County, the National Weather Service has put a severe thunderstorm warning with a tornado possible, rather than continuing to extend that tornado warning downrange. The other bit of good news is on that other tornado warning down to the south. I'm keeping an eye on that, and I'm not really seeing that signs of rotation. So I think that is weakening. We also have a shot of kind of what's happening east of Mount Home over in Norfolk Lake. If we can pull up that shot, kind of showing what's happening in that area. It is raining hard. I just don't see anything tornadic at that time. That's on Norfolk Lake in northern Arkansas right there.
Yeah, and to your point, we'll go back to, again, yeah, that's a look kind of heading across the lake. Certainly some raindrops there, but you can see there's not a whole lot of tree movement, so we're not getting a lot of wind in that particular location. Getting back to radar right now, there are still several circulations that we're watching very, very closely. One is located very close to Bakersfield. In fact, just got a new scan in. Let's investigate. Let's go ahead and take a look. That circulation appears to be, this is Bakersfield. You can see the circulation looks to be located right there. So this is going to move right over the top of the same community that got hit with an EF3 a couple of weeks ago. Looks like having a little bit of radar difficulty there, but I can tell you also there are two other circulations that we're watching closely in Howell County. One is north of West Plains, east of Highway 63, and southeast of Pomona. That one approaching White Church, and then appears to be another circulation to the south of Mountain View. Both of these are tracking northeast at about 55 miles per hour. So that's gonna take them across northeastern Howell County and then into Shannon County. So especially communities between Mountain View and Birch Tree in Shannon County, you're going to want to watch out. It looks like these circulations, these possible tornadoes, will be moving into your area. In fact, it looks like that northernmost circulation, this one right here to the southeast of Mountain View, will be moving into Shannon County, probably doing so right now. The other circulation located here near White Church, very close to Highway 17. Looks like that circulation just south of White Church. This is the one that we've been tracking really for a while now, across southwestern Howell County, then north of West Plains. It's now located up near White Church.
Jamie, take a peek at CC over in Bakersville area. Before we're saying, hey, this may be debris, I'm pretty confident now. Taking a look at that, we have a definite CC drop. Very strong velocity couplet that continues to keep on producing these CC drops in the area.
It does look like it. It's still kind of co-located with. So it's co-located with basically the updraft of that storm. So it may be a rain-hail mixture, but as Matt said, I mean, it's also very, very closely tied to the circulation. And that circulation right now, moving northeast away from Bakersfield and north of Highway 142. So Bakersfield, looks like that circulation, which in the last scan was located right here, is now moving downstream into southwestern Howell County. So here we've had probably 3 different circulations that have moved across or are moving through Howell County right now. So Howell County is, I mean, that is really the focal point for some of the severe weather here that we've got right now that's ongoing. And as Matt said, I mean, it looks like that could have been a CC drop moving from Gamelia northeast up toward Bakersfield. Again, waiting for confirmation from the Weather Service, looking at that data to determine whether or not there indeed was a tornado that tried to touch down and then in turn generated some debris. So, you know, we've got still several tornado-warned storms, one moving into southwestern Howell County, the one that's gone through Bakersfield. Further north, we've got one that is located east of Mountain View. We've got one located near White Church. Circulation right there, Highway 17. Here's the circulation east of Mountain View. Both of these are tracking like this. We'll move into southwestern Shannon County. And then up in Dent County, that tornado threat has moved out of Dent County and has made its way into areas further northeast. Looks like that circulation located now just on the other side of the county line, northwest of Viburnum. So it looks like that tornado threat in Dent County has ended. In fact, they've lifted that warning. That tornado risk has now moved into southeastern Crawford County, northeast of Salem.
Only one tornado warning into our viewing area right now, but that is in southern Howell County, getting closer to West Plains.
Yep, and that's that Bakersfield circulation. That circulation, again, has now moved northeast of Bakersfield. So the tornado risk has ended in the Bakersfield area, but it does continue for points northeast. northeast away from Bakersfield up toward West Plains. I mean, West Plains, you guys have been under the gun for a possible tornado for probably about the last half an hour, 45 minutes. A couple of different circulations moving by. Here comes another one. A third circulation to your southwest. And that one too is moving northeast, I believe at about 50 miles per hour. And that is going to bring it into the West Plains area in probably around 20 minutes. Go ahead, Matt.
I don't have anything.
So in about 20 minutes or so, it looks like we're going to have yet another potentially tornadic thunderstorm moving near the West Plains area. And this one looks more in line for the circulation to track across West Plains. Looks like before it gets to West Plains, it should be in the vicinity of South Fork in about 10 minutes time. So we're still watching several different circulations. The one that is currently tornado warned, though, is the one that's moving now into southwestern Howell County. Looks like the circulations further northeast are broad enough and weak enough so that the tornado warning that was in effect for these two that you see in northeastern Howell County, I say that, and they just issued another tornado warning, that for areas from northeastern Howell County into southern Shannon County and northernmost Oregon County. So a new tornado warning has just been issued. This does include areas from Birch Tree east over toward Winona, north up to Eminence. Looks like a pair of circulations that are being watched. One is located on top of Highway 60 east of Mountain View. Another one is located very close to Highway 17.
Jamie, this is going 55 miles per hour to the northeast, 55 northeast.
55 miles per hour. So
half dollar size hail with it too.
Yeah, and I haven't looked at the hail sizes. Looks like we've got a hail core to the west-southwest of Eminence, hail core over Mountain View, hail core over West Plains at this moment, and a really intense hail core over Bakersfield. Looks like we could be getting golf ball size hail right now in Bakersfield. And that's the more southern storm that we've been concerned could have been producing a tornado as it was moving from Gamaliel up through the Bakersfield area. So we've still got 3 different circulations that we're tracking. We've got a pair of them. One is in Shannon County, just east of Mountain View. Another one is in northeastern Howell County, east of the Pomona area. And then we've got yet a third circulation now located northeast of Bakersfield. And that circulation looks to be kind of making a beeline to the northeast, headed toward South Fork, and then from there it would head toward West Plains. Looks like that is the line that circulation is going to take. This one right here that we're watching just to the northeast of Bakersfield. So far this afternoon, unlike this morning, we've gotten no confirmation of a tornado touchdown. This morning there were confirmed tornadoes. This afternoon we're sort of in wait and see mode. We've certainly seen some intense circulations, but we've not, for the most part, seen evidence yet, at least on radar, that we've had a tornado that has touched down. But it still remains to be a dangerous afternoon with the possibility of tornadoes. That risk, and I'm going to switch this out for a different radar view, that risk is now located east of Highway 65. So if you're watching from I-44 and north, no severe weather risk the rest of the day. We're done. West of Highway 65, no further severe weather risk. I think we're done, at least so far as once you get down to Harrison. South of Harrison on 65, there's still a severe weather risk. So we're seeing that risk of severe weather gradually getting whittled away as the line itself, which is taking shape, as the line itself is pushing east. While the individual storms are tracking northeast, the line is pushing east gradually now across our eastern counties. We still expect this severe weather threat in our area to come to an end by roughly about 7 o'clock this evening. So this is not going to be an overnight event. But for the next few hours, for at least the next 2 to 3 hours, we're going to be looking at the risk of tornadoes in areas, especially near and east of Highway 63 on the Missouri side of the state line and east of Highway 65 on the Arkansas side of the state line. I do want to get back to our view of what's going on with that southwestern Howell County storm. I'm going to put this back on a different radar view. And this is, I've seen this tighten back up again. Hopefully this will adjust for me. That's not exactly what I wanted. But I've seen that circulation tighten back up across southwestern Howell County. So again, concerned that that storm is still trying to produce a tornado. So looking at that cell in particular as we go back into southwestern Howell County, hoping that it'll zoom in for me. Going back into southwestern Howell County, again, it looks like that circulation has tightened up. There we go. Southwest of West Plains. So this is what the storm looks like on radar, and we'll put that scope back on it. And I think, well, okay, so that's an older velocity scan, but I think when we get a new scan in, what you're going to see, when we get a new scan in and what we're able to show on TV, that circulation is now located to the northwest of Moody. Looks like it's roughly here now.
And Jamie, I have
southwest of South Fork.
Emergency manager in Howell County saying they spotted a funnel
With this
north of
particular
Bakersfield. Yes,
storm?
north of Bakersfield, headed towards South Fork by a trained spotter.
Okay, yeah, and I mean this is what we're seeing. I mean, when we get a new scan in, you'll see what I'm talking about. But that circulation is now located roughly right about in here, and it's tightened back up. Meanwhile, it's heading towards South Fork, and it's then eventually going to head toward the West Plains area. So with this storm, it looks like it's trying to produce at the very least. Please, again, remain in your tornado safe space. If you're watching from southwestern Howell County, this storm is moving very quickly, so that the tornado risk will come to an end pretty quickly with this particular storm. But of course, this has been one of several that we've had this afternoon. This is roughly the track that it will take, and it looks like it should be in the vicinity of South Fork in under 10 minutes, in the vicinity of West Plains in under 20 minutes, or about 3:24, 3:20 this afternoon, and then it looks like it would be up near White Church. And we've already had a circulation move past White Church, but it looks like it'll be up near White Church in about 30 minutes from now. Again, looking at, let's see if I can just kind of swapping back to a different view here. That circulation is very close to FF Highway running south out of Amy. It looks like it's still located west of E Highway, which runs north-south from South Fork. That circulation, again, very close to FF Highway, south of Amy, southeast of Egypt Grove, and still southwest of South Fork. But it is tracking northeast, and it looks like it will be in the vicinity of South Fork in probably about 5 minutes' time. Again, that's just the latest circulation that has moved through that area, one of several that have moved across Howell County, still tracking tornado-warned storms moving now into Shannon County. One is already into Shannon County. So I'm going to go ahead and put the velocity data back on, see what these look like, and what we find is that circulation, there's one to the west of Birch Tree, right on top of Highway 60, and that circulation there southwest of South Fork still looks like it's trying to intensify. Going to a different radar view, it gets a little bit messy. Maybe easier just to kind of swap back out with our radar. Hopefully that'll kind of clear up.
There's a
the mess
really
little
good
bit.
velocity couplet south of South Fork,
Yeah.
northeast of Bakersville. New scan just came in. Yeah, it's getting very close to South Fork.
Yeah, so, okay, so we're talking about the Shannon County storm. That storm, it looks like the circulation is now located north of Birch Tree and north of Highway 60, just kind of zooming in. Hopefully I can get some streets to pop up, or some roads at least to pop up. Again, a very rural area there north of Highway 60. County Road 458, that's one that comes in. Let's see if I can get another one to come in.
I do want to mention this while you're kind of getting those roads, Jamie. Emergency managers in Howell County are saying, hey, there's a lot of people without power right now. If you know someone that is in Howell County near the West Plains area, reach out to them, or at least you can see our live stream on Facebook. You can see our live stream on our website. That's a way that if you lose power, you can still know the tornado threats are going to be coming your way. We do that for that reason, because we know when we get these bad storms, a whole lot of people lose power and they still want to get information. Or even if you just go into your safe place, if you go into the basement, if you go into the shelter, take your phone. That way you can continue to to see our coverage, and we can issue that all clear for us for now. This rotation's tightening up. As it's approaching South Fork, then West Plains is downstream from this. So that is what we're concerned about right now. A lot of people without power. There's still other ways that you can get kind of this live stream, this information. Send that to people if they're in this area. Make sure that they are prepared, that they are taking this very seriously.
Yeah, and you mentioned the Howell County storm. That one is approaching South Fork from the southwest. Looks like the circulation is right on top of E Highway on the south side of South Fork. So it looks to me to be roughly, just kind of mapping this out, looks like it's about 2 miles to the southwest of South Fork, very close to E Highway. And from there, it looks like it's going to track maybe just south of South Fork. We'll be crossing E Highway, probably we'll be doing that over the next few minutes. We'll pass South Fork over the next few minutes, I think just south of South Fork. And then from there, it will travel roughly parallel, I think, to Highway 160. And that will bring it close to Homeland, and then from there up toward the West Plains area. But the circulation right now, and just got a new scan in, the circulation right now is located east of Highway E, or E Highway, and looks very close to County Road 6590, which kind of runs, kind of spurs off of E Highway just south of the South Fork area. So that circulation appears to be very close to South Fork. I think it will pass just to the southeast of South Fork. But it looks like it may run roughly parallel on the south side of Highway 160 right up toward West Plains over the next 15 minutes. That's one of, again, one of several different circulations. Still watching the storm up in Shannon County. Again, for folks that are watching from Highway 60 north up toward Eminence, you are absolutely still under the gun with a circulation still showing up on radar. The last time I looked, it was very close to Jack's Fork, the vicinity of that river. It looks like it's still located near Jack's Fork. That's very rural part of Shannon County. That will track northeast. Looks like it will stay maybe a little south of Angeline Conservation Area and northwest of Rocky Creek Conservation Area. But it may be in line to move into the Eminence area, just based on where it is. Looks like that circulation could move through Eminence over the next 10 minutes or so. I kind of want to...
Jamie, emergency management in that area, South Fork, they're saying rotation in South Fork. Moody Fire is reporting that. They're saying it is not on the ground at this time, but they are seeing this is trying to produce. It really is. That is kind of what the PD who are tracking this situation. They're also saying funnel cloud northeast of Brandsville that's not on the ground. So I guess they're kind of referring to east of West Plains. Because not really seeing exactly.
Brandsville is over there near the Koshkonong area.
So that's the two places that they're reporting right now.
What's interesting is looking at radar, there's another thunderstorm over there near Brandsville. So here's a different thunderstorm, and you can see right here, looks like we've got a little bit of a hook shape there. This is the one that we're focused on.
Yep, that's the one they're mentioning right there, Jamie.
Yeah, near
that's
South
the one, you're on it.
So that's the one that I think we're going to stay focused on, because this one is going to be moving into, I think, West Plains over the next 5 to 10 minutes. Now, up towards Shannon County, I'm concerned about that storm too, because it looks like that circulation will track toward Eminence, but we've got a little bit more time there. And right now it's over a very rural part of Shannon County. But here in Howell County, we've still got a very intense circulation showing up on radar. It's now located just to the east of South Fork, south of Homeland. Looks like, again, it's on the south side of 160, east of South Fork, and it looks like it's going to track right up Highway 160. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and let's track that out.
Reports of golf ball to tennis ball sized in South Fork. Golf ball to tennis ball sized hail. Tornado warning concern, and also large hail that we have to watch out for.
Yeah, you're right, man. I can see that hail core right now, located basically on top of South Fork and on the south side of South Fork. You said golf ball approaching tennis ball size.
That is, yes, what Howe County Emergency Management is reporting.
So, you know, you've got an intense supercell, and that hail core looks like it too will track up toward the West Plains area. So an opportunity right now, get your car or your truck in a garage, get it in a safe space, is you've got a severe thunderstorm, not only with a risk of hail, but also a risk of a tornado moving toward your area. That tornado will be bearing down, I think, on areas near and maybe south of West Plains in probably under 10 minutes. And Matt, I think I'm looking at this correctly, but right now West Plains is technically not under a warning, just outside of that tornado warning polygon in southwestern Howell County. So again, if you live around West Plains, particularly West Plains down along Highway, I'm trying to get this right.
I hope the sirens are sounding in West Plains. I hope they are. And sometimes it gets tricky because West Plains is right on that fence of that tornado warning. If you're in West Plains, you need to be in shelter. Let's make sure that is very clear right now. This is about to approach the town. It's going to hit it pretty hard.
And it looks like the circulation is going to track in areas between West Plains and Brandsville along Highway 63. So if if you're familiar with that area, you get out of West Plains and it kind of opens up into open country, but there are a lot of homes in that area. So again, possible tornado tracking toward the south end of West Plains. Looks like it will stay southeast of West Plains, the downtown West Plains area, but it will be crossing Highway 63 between West Plains and Brandsville in probably under 10 minutes based on where it is. It's also got it's got a strong hail core with it. We're likely getting hail up to golf ball size, at least in the South Fork area. And I think that's going to slide northeast right into West Plains. So, kind of the double whammy, hail and a tornado threat with that thunderstorm tracking into the West Plains area. Just checking different views here. Want to make sure we're seeing everything that we need to see. Circulation still going back to Shannon County, that circulation still approaching imminence from the southwest. So if you're watching from the imminence area, remain in your tornado safe space. You're still looking at a risk of a tornado over the next under 10 minutes, over the next probably 5 minutes or so, as the circulation currently to your southwest, south of Highway 106, west of Highway 19, tracks northeast roughly through the imminence area. Again, right now, the most intense circulation that we've been tracking is the one that is located south-southwest of West Plains. Looks like that circulation is now located between Homeland and Cottbus. That is roughly between Highway 160 and Highway 17, near JJ Highway, is where that circulation is currently. And that still looks like it's on track to move northeast between West Plains and Brandsville. There are a few communities, one is Frankville, Chapin, that are kind of in the general path that this possible tornado will take over the next 5 to 10 minutes as it tracks toward the northeast. It's a fast mover, 50-mile-per-hour forward motion. Looks like the hail core with this storm is starting to slide into the West Plains area. It's been located over South Fork. So we're very likely now getting golf ball to possibly tennis ball size hail moving into the south end of West Plains right now. And again, that's all moving in tandem with this possible tornado that is currently centered south of West Plains. I'll go ahead and give you guys an idea of just how far south that, if we kind of focus in on downtown West Plains, it looks like that circulation is about 6.5 miles to the south-southwest of downtown West Plains. And it's, again, keep in mind, it's tracking northeast at 50 miles per hour. I think the circulation is going to stay south of most of West Plains, but certainly areas running south out of West Plains, down Highway 63 toward Brandsville. Guys, be in your tornado safe space. Be in your tornado shelter. If that's an interior room in your home, a basement, if you have a tornado shelter, be in it. Again, a possible tornado will be tracking south and southeast of West Plains, in under 5 minutes.
New tornado warning. This one is going to include West Plains itself. So National Weather Service just extending this kind of downstream a little bit further. I'll get the particulars on that in just a second, but that just came out right now. So that's what we're saying is we were a little surprised that this wasn't issued earlier. We could kind of see the writing on the wall. This is for 2-inch sized hail, Jamie, and let's see what movement they have it on. They have it moving northeast at 45. So they're having it slow down just a bit, and that does make sense with it has been getting a little bit slower ever since it got closer to south.
Last scan, Matt, I'll tell you this, last scan south of West Plains,
Talking about that velocity couplet?
It's really tightened up again.
Yeah.
Really tightened up. It's located right on top of Highway 17. Roughly.
Yeah, I'm seeing the same thing.
Looks like it's right about here. So I've got my pointer located roughly where that circulation is, right on top of Highway 17, to the south of West Plains, to the west of Chapin. That is also to the west-southwest of Frankville. If you live anywhere from, say, West Plains southeast along Highway 63 through the Frankville area, I mean, we're looking at what could be a developing tornado moving through that area in under 5 minutes. I mean, the storm's moving northeast at 45. It's going to cover that ground in probably about the next 5 minutes.
That looks to be on top of Glenwood Elementary School, that in rough area, and it's going to go further kind of where Howell Valley School is. So if you're in the West Plains area, that's where we're seeing that velocity couplet. So Glenwood Elementary School on 17, and then getting closer to Howell Valley School on Highway 63. I think that's the main area this path is going to be taking. Definitely the southeast portion of town, more concerned about. Yeah, that's the kind of area I'm dialing in right now, Jamie.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to stay. Highway 17 as it runs northwest, or actually Highway 17 as it runs kind of west to east on the south end of West Plains, it looks like it's going to stay south of that area, but still concerned that it will clip areas southeast of West Plains down toward Frankville. That's the general trajectory that it looks like that this circulation is taking. Just getting some new scans in. Still not seeing like real clear evidence of a debris signature. There's also a lot of hail with this storm, so that is probably interfering with getting a better sampling of whether or not there is any debris. But the circulation in the last couple of scans has tightened up as it approaches Highway 63. It looks like it's now east of Highway 17, but approaching Highway 63 from the southwest. And as Matt mentioned earlier, just to kind of give you guys an idea, right now it appears to be located. I know that there's a sports complex on the southeast side of West Plains, off of 63. It looks like it has passed that sports complex to the southeast. So I think it's crossing. I think the circulation, the possible tornado, is crossing Highway 63 right now. Looks like it has passed that sports complex, the West Plains Soccer Association. It has moved.
Kind of by those greenhouses. That's the area. Yeah.
And against just some other roads, Howell Valley Airport is in the vicinity of where the circulation is. So I'm sure they've got eyes on this storm, watching it very closely.
South Fork, we got a report of 2.5-inch hail. That is
tennis ball size.
Tennis ball size hail. So we have confirmed 2.5-inch hail that just went through South Fork, and this is what's about to move into West Plains, that hail core right now.
Yeah, so, okay, so we have possible tornado passing West Plains to the south, now southeast. Looks like it's located very close to Howell Valley Airport, very close to Frankville, and it is tracking northeast towards ZZ Highway. In addition to that, as Matt mentioned, we've got some very large hail with that storm, and it looks like that hail core is now located pretty much on and east of West Plains. So I would guess areas from West Plains east are dealing with maybe golf ball to possibly as large as tennis ball size hail at this time as that storm, that supercell, with also a possible tornado, tracks across the West Plains area. So this has likely been a damaging thunderstorm for the West Plains community, damaging for South Fork, large hail in that area.
This is producing some gorilla-sized hail. I mean, this is monstrous hail. And we also have concerns of, we've been seeing a funnel. We've had reporters saying, hey, there's a funnel, there's a funnel. They haven't seen it on the ground yet, but you add that in with the massive hail. Really concerned about West Plains. And something else I have to mention, downstream of this, over in Yellville, over in Mountain Home, there's more thunderstorms developing that are moving to the northeast, which means places in Bakersville. We may have to do this again. These thunderstorms are starting to train back up. So we're concerned right now. I think we may have to deal with this in about, I don't know, a half hour later if these storms continue to develop into northern Arkansas and spill across the state line.
And for our viewers up in Shannon County, I mean, we're still seeing a circulation with that tornado warned storm. That circulation is just north of Eminence in Shannon County. That is, it's located along Highway 19, just on the north side of Eminence, and it looks like it will continue to track northeast away from Eminence. So we should see the tornado threat come to an end in the Eminence area shortly. Looking further south down toward the Birch Tree area, Winona, still looks like a bit of a circulation there between Birch Tree and Winona. It doesn't look particularly strong, but this is a broad warning. So I think they're trying to cover both of these circulations, one up near Eminence, on the north side of Eminence, and also the circulation between Birch Tree and Winona. Keep in mind, both of these are moving northeast. So the one in Eminence is moving away from Eminence. There's a circulation south of Eminence that will likely stay to the south of Eminence, crossing Highway 19 in probably under 10 minutes. Looks like that circulation will go between Eminence and Winona.
And I'm tracking the circulation over in West Plains. I would continue to stay in shelter right now. It's almost fully pushed out. It's starting to move across Highway 63. If you're in West Plains, stay in shelter for me for a couple more minutes until we can start to get things to die down outside. But I think the worst of it is really starting to move through and out of the town right now. So if you're in West Plains, stay in shelter. A couple more minutes, you're almost through this. Thankfully, that circulation appears to be weakening a bit. I don't think it's fully, we can rule it out, but not as strong as what we were seeing when it was closer to South Fork.
Yeah, and a lot of times, once these things start cranking, once these things start putting down, funnel clouds or maybe even tornadoes, the Weather Service is probably going to ride this a little bit because, I mean, we could be looking at a supercell that's cycling. So even though at this moment the circulation weakens, we may see it tighten right back up again. And that circulation currently in the West Plains area is located east of West Plains and is now also east of Highway 63. So it will be tracking across a fairly rural part of Howell County, but it will be approaching Highway 160 that runs east out of West Plains. Will be approaching Highway 160 in probably under 5 minutes.
If we can switch this over to Max too, Jamie, I've checked our lightning tracker. This is something I haven't looked at for, the first time I'm looking at it for tonight is right now. 800 lightning strikes in the last 10 minutes, and you can really see at West Plains, kind of that core of that thunderstorm. It's moving out of the town, but this is just a massive one. You can also see the lightning that's happening over in Shannon County as well, but is earlier estimating 800 lightning strikes per 10 minutes. Starting now, the tracker's going back down to 600, but very, very active atmosphere, and you can see more thunderstorms developing in northern Arkansas that are going to spill across the state line. Lightning counter right there just jumped up to 900, so very active, Jamie.
Yeah, and Matt, right now on radar, we've still got this line of severe thunderstorms. Some of them tornado warned. They stretch from the St. Louis area.
We got a new tornado warning. This includes South Fork. So this is what I was concerned about, where we may have to do it again. New tornado warning. This is to the west of West Plains. We're starting to see those training thunderstorms fire back up. This is over in the South Fork area.
This is an interesting one because I'm looking at radar, and this one I'm
not as clear.
Yeah. So
I almost think this is Little Rock is probably going to come out with a tornado warning that makes this make a little more sense because Springfield's jurisdiction starts at that state line. Little Rock's jurisdiction ends at the Missouri state line. So I almost imagine a tornado warning coming out of Little Rock to kind of shape up those polygons a little bit better.
On radar right now, we can, we can very easily see that we've got the circulation east of West Plains, and we've got also a circulation south of Mountain Home.
That's the
one you're watching.
That is not tornado warned at this time.
It's not tornado warned. I'm almost wondering if this is, if maybe this is an accidental sort of reissuance, because I don't see a circulation within that polygon area. That tornado warned storm has moved now east of West Plains and northeast of West Plains. So we'll watch it. Bottom line is we've still got a supercell right here. Here's West Plains, supercell. We've still got very large hail occurring with it, hail up to possibly tennis ball size. and it still looks like we've got the possibility of a tornado.
They did take that down, Jamie.
Okay.
I think they're a little bit too premature on that trigger. Obviously, these thunderstorms that are spilling out of northern Arkansas could become tornado warned. National Weather Service, Springfield, they're ready for it. Probably pulled it a little bit too early, but those thunderstorms that we're tracking right now that could become tornado warned are over in Mountain Home. So still a little bit of time until they get into the Bakersfield area.
Yeah, right now I would say, right now there are still 3 kind of clusters that we're watching. One is Shannon County. Still have this tornado warned storm now east of Eminence, northeast of Eminence. There's another circulation that was located south of Eminence. We've also got this supercell, which is located near West Plains. It has been a hail producer and possibly a tornado producer. And Matt's been watching this storm down in the Mountain Home area. Yet another storm in the Mountain Home area that may be trying to organize. So there are 3 at this hour, at this moment, that we're tracking. Shannon County, Howell County into Oregon County, and then also in Baxter County. Outside of that, the severe weather risk is winding down for areas further west. Certainly good news. This looks like we're kind of in the back end stages. We're certainly not done with this, but we're in the back end stages of the severe weather risk in our area that actually started before sunrise or near sunrise this morning back along I-49. Looks like we've got a confirmed tornado outside of our viewing area, northeast of Dent County. This is between St. Louis and Salem. And again, those tornado warned storms in Shannon County and Howell County. And then also that storm that we're watching in Mountain Home in the Baxter County area. And that also we need to probably watch this cell down near Marshall. So the storms are, they're kind of lined up, but they're also discrete enough where they're organizing, and we're seeing these storms develop into supercells, and with that you get a threat of hail, some of it very large, and you get a threat of tornadoes. The circulation with the Howell County storm, going back to that, that circulation is now located to the northeast of Chapin. Looks like it's getting pretty close to moving into maybe northwestern Oregon County. And the tornado warning extends across northwestern Oregon County. Rover, another community that was hit just a couple of weeks ago by a tornado. That was a long track tornado, by the way. I believe they estimated that to be an EF3 at points along its path. Again, it looks like we've got another potential tornado risk moving near the Rover area. Now, I think we're going to be able to keep most of that circulation just to the northwest. It looks like that circulation is centered between Cull and Fanchon. That is located pretty close to Highway 160 in easternmost Howell County. So between Highway 160 and ZZ Highway there near Cull is approximately where that circulation is located. And looks like that, because it's moving northeast, here's Rover. That circulation appears to be right about in here. Looks like that's going to stay just to the north of Rover as it tracks across northwestern Oregon County. And that storm is still putting out some large hail. Looks like we've still got a pretty good hail core. In fact, we've got a hail product. Let's see if it's showing up pretty well.
Our hail product's been underestimating by a good bit.
Yeah, it did this past Sunday too, but it at least will give you a good idea of where.
It really nails the location. It kind of underestimates just how much.
So yeah, so West Plains, this is Highway 160, and it looks like that hail is pounding these areas between West Plains and Rover along Highway 160. I mean, at the very least, I think we're looking at golf ball size hail and possibly hailstones that may be approaching tennis ball size. We did get that report out of South Fork with this storm that it was producing hail up to tennis ball size. Going back to what it looks like in terms of velocity data, wait for this to pop in. It is, and that data is just a hair old. It looks like that circulation is located just to the northwest of Rover. So I would put it, again, looking at a different radar source off camera. Here's Rover. This is approximately where that circulation is now located. So it looks like it is now getting into northwestern Oregon County. It looks like it is crossing the county line, moving out of Howell County and into northwestern Oregon County. Still watching a couple of different circulations up in Shannon County. One is moving now northeast away. So again, this data, this scan looks to be a little bit old, but this was the circulation we were watching. It is now located roughly right in here, moving northeast. There's another circulation down here that we're watching as well. That one is located very close to Winona. Looks like it is located just north of Winona, very close to Highway 19 running north out of Winona. So that circulation should be moving northeast and away from Winona shortly. Again, those are the two circulations in Shannon County, and still tracking the most intense circulation, which is now getting into northwestern Oregon County, just northwest of Rover. So a lot of stuff is popping right now. I mean, we've got still it looks like at least 3 tornado warned storms, and we're still tracking possibilities off to the south in Arkansas. Kind of getting that view back down there. I don't see anything popping out at me, but there certainly are storms down there that we're going to be eyeballing as they make their way off to the northeast, because it looks like communities like Mountain Home, maybe eventually Salem, over toward Ash Flat and Alton. I mean, you're going to have to contend with this. You see this line of thunderstorms right here. These individual cells within that line, they're tracking northeast. So there's going to be time. I mean, this is an area that has not been worked over by thunderstorm activity. I haven't checked temperatures here, but I'm guessing they're probably in the upper 70s to near 80 degrees, and the air is juicy. I mean, we've seen some higher humidity air move into this area, so we've got the instability in place here, so these storms may try to organize as they move into that environment, much like we've seen with earlier storms that are still tornado warned north of the state line. Getting back to the 2 storms, or the 3 storms, I should say, that are tornado warned at this hour. Again, one here northeast of Eminence, another one near Winona, and then we have the other tornado warned storm. That's probably been this afternoon from all the storms we've been tracking. This is the one that's been, I think, most concerning. This one tracked across Gamelia, then Bakersfield, then South Fork, then south of West Plains, now in Oregon County. And along that path, it has maintained a relatively strong circulation. And at times, it has appeared that maybe there were moments where it tried to touch down. We've gotten some reports from weather watchers and spotters that they've seen funnel clouds. So far, have not seen or heard of
I've heard of a lot of reports of funnel clouds. I haven't heard a single report of confirmed tornado on the ground. So that is kind of what we've been tracking.
Yeah, and that storm has also been responsible for a lot of hail. It is currently now, again, moving out of Howell County, so the severe weather threat for the time being appears to be ending in West Plains. But that storm is now moving into northwestern Oregon County. Looks like it will pass, for the most part, north of Rover and Thomasville. The circulation itself is currently located north of Highway 160, just to the southeast of Fanchon. So that circulation appears to be pretty close to JJ Highway. Let's see if I can get another street name to pop in. Near JJ Highway, and that's about all I'm able to get to show up for me. But southeast of Fanchon, north of Highway 160, is where the circulation is currently located, roughly about right in there, maybe just to the northwest of Thomasville. It's getting very far from our radar site here in Springfield, so we're hitting that storm higher and higher up in the storm, and it's getting a little messy in terms of what it actually looks like, what it looks like is going on in that particular storm. In fact, it looks like we've got a new severe thunderstorm warning, which was just issued, and that may account for that cell. What we may be looking at is the weather service is saying, hey, the tornado risk is weakening with that storm. The circulation appears to be weaker, and so we're going to go with a severe thunderstorm warning with the tornado possible tag. I think that's what we're finding right now for northern Oregon County into southeastern Shannon County. Maybe more of a, hey, we're going to wait and see on this. The storm still showing evidence that it's cranking out lots of large hail. And there's still that possibility as it continues to cycle, it's possible that circulation could tighten back up. Right now, it looks like the circulation has weakened to some extent. I can still see it though. It's again located northwest of Thomasville, north of Highway 160, and tracking northeast across northwestern Oregon County. It looks like it will stay to the south of Birch Tree, but it may track in the direction of areas further east down 60 in Winona. So I'd watch for that, this storm to track up toward the Winona area.
Jamie, another area we've been mentioning is those thunderstorms are in Mountain Home. They're not tornadic right now. We should have a live camera up of what's going on in Mountain Home. We're pulled up an intersection where you can start to see some of the water that's ponding in this area. Whenever you get a car that drives by, there you go. You can see that water is really kind of spraying up, and this is just the start of a very wet week that we have to get through, where we have more chances of rain for tomorrow, for Friday, for Saturday, for Sunday, and places in northern Arkansas. We can see, Jamie, I think you're forecasting, what, 7 to 10 inches could be possible into this area, and there's the water that's already ponding. It's already, the ground can't soak it up because man, that's a good shot of just those cars splashing right through it. This is also the area that we're watching right now for the next kind of possible tornado warning if this starts to strengthen and tighten up as it moves into Howell County.
Yeah, the beginning of a very wet stretch of weather. Kind of looking at still several different tornado-warned storms. We've got them up in Shannon County, north of Winona now, east of Eminence. Looks like those storms are going to be passing out of Shannon County. We'll see what they do with the warning there, but again, the tornado threat looks to have ended in Eminence and certainly has ended back toward Mountain View. We're still tracking the supercell though in northwestern Oregon County. That one will make its way northeast, I think, into southeastern Shannon County. Could move up toward Winona. In fact, I expect it to. We'll track it moving northeast at, I believe, about 55 miles per hour, and that will bring it roughly into that area. So I think the storm itself will be impacting Winona in about 15 to 20 minutes. And I say impact because you're going to get heavy rain, you're going to get lightning, and you could get large to very large hail. I mean, this storm has had a history of producing hail up to golf ball to possibly tennis ball size. So there's going to be that possibility. Also still tracking a circulation with that storm. Looks like that circulation should be moving out of northern Oregon County in about 5 minutes, and then across southern and southeastern Shannon County over the next 10 to 20 minutes, and could be in the vicinity of Winona in about 20 minutes from now. So it gets a little bit confusing because you've already had a couple of different tornado-warned storms pass through Shannon County. Now we've got a third tornado-warned storm to the southwest of Winona. So we don't want to lose sight of that. So we've had 2 tornado-warned storms. They're now moving away from Birch Tree, moving away from Eminence, moving away from Winona. But there's another tornado-warned storm that's moving in from the southwest, out of Oregon County into Shannon County. So, you know, I guess what I'm saying is I don't want folks to get caught up with, oh, you know, our threat is past. No, it's not over with. It looks like the threat of severe weather will continue across southern Shannon County up to at least Highway 60 as the next severe thunderstorm in the line makes its way northeast out of Oregon County and into Shannon County. And we can still see a circulation, looks like it's still south of the county line, but that circulation is still showing up northwest of Thomasville. And we're still, I mean, we can still see a hail core. The hail core has weakened. It's not as strong as it was, but we're also getting to be a long way away from the radar site, so maybe the sampling isn't as good as it could be. Looking further south, still tracking some storms on the Arkansas side of the state line, and I'll clear out that information, but still tracking storms south of the state line. We have a line which extends from Baxter County near the Mountain Home area down toward Marshall. Right now, the risk with those storms is primarily for either hail up to, let's say, quarter size, maybe golf ball size, and also damaging wind gusts. Right now, we're not seeing any evidence that there's circulations trying to tighten up at least imminent. There's some evidence of some weak circulations, but we're not seeing anything as significant as with the storms that we're tracking north of the state line in Oregon and Shannon counties. And that right now, I think, is the only warning that we have in our area is the one in Oregon County that extends into southwestern Shannon County. So we'll see what happens with that. That tornado warning runs through, let's see, that's canceled. That tornado warning.
15 more minutes.
15 more minutes until 4 o'clock, right?
There's about 500 people without power in Shannon County, 500 people without power in Texas County, about 500 people in Howe County as well without power with these storms that just rolled in. 15 minutes on that tornado warning. That's the only one we have left into our viewing area. They have it moving northeast at 45 miles per hour.
Yeah, and the two circulations that we were tracking further north in Shannon County, those have both moved into Reynolds County. So they're now moving away from Eminence and Winona. So really, it's this one tornado warned storm still in northwestern Oregon County that we're tracking. That circulation has weakened some. So we'll see if they ride this out. But again, the good news is it looks like that circulation has weakened. So looking further south and southwest, then it looks like we got a flash flood warning, which was just issued for the Howell County area back into Ozark County.
You can see some of that flooding when we pull up the Mountain Home camera, even just at that one intersection. But flash flood warning starting to come in place in Baxter County, Douglas, Howell, Ozark at this time. Imagine we're going to see a lot more kind of downstream.
Just popped up the rainfall totals. If we can go back to Max 1, just popped up the rainfall totals across that corridor. What we've been dealing with are what are called training thunderstorms, meaning you get a train of thunderstorms with storms kind of moving across the same locations. And when that happens, you're going to dump a lot of rain. West Plains, it looks like we've got totals. Here's our legend right here. Looks like we've got totals of maybe 2 to 3 inches, stretching back into southeastern Ozark County near the Gainesville area, 2 to 3 inches, 2 to 3 inches in Mountain Home back toward Yellville. Some of that, and this is radar estimated rainfall, some of that may be hail contamination, but I would guess that we've probably seen at least 2 inches in that corridor. And again, that's prompting a flash flood warning. In fact, there's a couple of them now. We've got one which is located, again, Ozark County into Howell County. That runs through 9:15. Again, estimates of 2 to 3 inches of rainfall, which could lead to some flash flooding. And then there's another one located just to the south of the state line. That's across Baxter County for the Mountain Home area. That warning runs through 6:45. And radar estimating 1 to 2 inches in that area. So this is going to be the next phase of this active week of weather. It was hail on Sunday. It's been hail and tornadoes today. And I think throughout the rest of the week and into this upcoming weekend, it's going to be this. It's going to be rainfall, how much, flooding concerns that result from that rainfall. And I think Friday afternoon into Friday night, in these areas that are looking at severe weather right now, we could have more severe weather unfold. Again, that'd be Friday afternoon into Friday night. So again, active weather continues through the rest of the week and into this upcoming weekend. At this point, again, we're still tracking a supercell thunderstorm in northwestern Oregon County. This is northwest of Alton. Hail, still tracking a circulation with it. The good news is that circulation has absolutely weakened. And hopefully that continues. Sometimes these things can cycle. But right now, we're certainly on the weakening side of that cycle, and hopefully it won't perk back up again. With that, what will happen is they'll probably allow that warning to expire, or they may even cancel it early. The circulation is currently located north of the Thomasville area, very close to Highway, I believe that's Highway 99. If I'm correct. Yeah, Highway 99 running north out of Thomasville. That circulation located pretty close to Highway 99. It's still south, I think, of the county line. It has not crossed over into Shannon County. It looks like it is south of the Birch Creek Conservation Area and north of Thomasville. And it will track into southeastern Shannon County here shortly, I would guess in the next 5 minutes or so. Still looking at a lot of lightning, heavy rainfall, still very likely some hail falling with that storm south of Birch Tree. In fact, going to a different view here, looks like the hail does not extend as far north as Birch Tree, but we're still looking at a hail core from maybe areas closer to Rover and north up toward the county line. Outside of that, also looking at a pretty good hail core near Henderson. This is kind of looking further southwest with this cell right here. That's near the Mountain Home area near Henderson, northeast of Mountain Home. Pretty good hail core, maybe some hail up to quarter size there. And another hail core down near Harriet. This is down in Searcy County, south of Mountain Home. That will track into southern Sharp County. But looks like maybe hail up to quarter size there with that cell that is located to the, I guess that would be the northeast of Marshall, tracking northeast into Sharp County. So, you know, looking at things right now, again, we've still got a little bit of real estate in our area where severe weather can happen. That would be Shannon County, Howell County, Oregon County, Fulton County, Marion, Baxter, Izzardstone, over towards Sharp. That's still a zone, this area right in here, roughly along and on the east side of this line of storms. That's still a zone where severe weather can happen. North of that or west of that, the severe weather is ended. So we can give you the all clear in places like Harrison, Branson, Ava, Mountain Grove, up towards Salem. The severe weather threat has ended for all of your communities. It has ended for areas further west and northwest. So we're not going to go into a night tonight where we have to track severe weather well into the night, or you have to be concerned about warnings while you're sleeping. Looks like we're going to have a quiet night, just another hour to 2 hours, I think, of severe weather risk in our area, and then we will be done with this round. Now, the risk of severe weather is really just beginning to unfold. We've got scattered thunderstorms which have taken shape now across northern Mississippi and western Tennessee. One of those north of Memphis is tornado warned. And the concern is that these things are going to take off and that these could not only produce very large hail, but also very large tornadoes. That is a high-risk area. Looking at our SPC outlook, you can see that high-risk area runs from eastern Arkansas up toward Paducah. This is also an area where, just given the wind energy, we could see, again, long-track violent tornadoes. And there are watches now in effect for eastern Arkansas and northern Mississippi, Tennessee, western Kentucky. These go into the evening hours, and Matt, correct me if I'm wrong, but these are PDS watches, right? These are
Yes, that's been put out as a PDS tornado watch, and Jamie mentioned the high risk watch by the Storm Prediction Center. That's 5 out of 5. They do not throw that around too much. The last time it got issued was on the 14th when we saw those tornado outbreaks that resulted in, I believe, over 50 fatalities across the United States. That is
well over 100 tornadoes out of that outbreak.
Yeah, so produced over 100 tornadoes. I believe the number I saw was over 50 fatalities that was caused by it. Thankfully, I think this threat is ending for us. We're just running out of real estate into the Ozarks, but this is really going to fire up tonight as the environment that's closer to the Mississippi is more conducive for tornadoes, more conducive for supercell development. You can see that one tornado warning over in Memphis. I think it's going to be one of very many tornadoes that will be developing tonight, just not for us.
Yeah, and
just not for us.
You were talking about the environment out ahead of the line that's moving through our area. This is instability, so we're plotting the instability for you. Think of this as like the storm fuel. So our legend right here, low, moderate, high, very high. We've got high levels of instability.
Seeing that in early April is very impressive.
Moving north across Tennessee, southeast Missouri, into southern Illinois, and southwestern Kentucky. You couple that, and I think I'm going to be able to do this, you couple that with very strong winds higher up in the atmosphere. So what I'm going to show you right now, these are winds that are roughly...
Jamie, let me cut you off for some good news. That tornado warning, that one last tornado warning we had in our viewing area, that has expired.
Okay.
So we are clear of all tornado warnings at this minute.
Okay, well, that's good news. We'll quickly go back to the radar view there. Let's see if I can get that to pop up. Again, we have still some severe thunderstorm warnings in our area. There are no tornado warnings. The warning that was in effect for northwestern Oregon County, southwestern Shannon County, that one's been lifted. Got lifted about 6 minutes early. And we're still tracking a broken line of severe storms, though, across Shannon County down into Searcy County in Arkansas. We're going to watch it for the next, I think it's going to take another hour to 2 hours to get these storms clear of our area. So we'll continue to watch it here in the Weather Lab, and we'll hop right back on if another tornado warning is issued. Otherwise, be safe out there this afternoon, and hopefully that's it for the evening.